Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise of different generations of new girls and boys. So sit back and relax. This is Cat, the podcast. Don't overreact if these thoughts are abstract. When it's hosted by Catholic Dad, who knows what's gonna happen?
Hey, what's up, fam?
Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise and see if this connected.
What's up, fam? To connect generations and situations about faith, life, and whatever comes along.
Expect runaway thoughts like a runaway train. Break into conversation like links of a chain. Make a Hail Mary pass, hope this connects. Have a question for a guest, put it to rest. Live a life of holiness, lead by example. Follow at Catholic.Dad and Mini Tangled. Christ leads our way, he's the good shepherd. Pray for one another, be blessed and be there. Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go.
What's up, fam? Well, fam, dude, the whole intro has changed. Thank you very much to a person that we know. Producer Tony at Mini Tangled actually did that. We did not know that he raps, and today we let it out. We let it out the box. This is the preview to the premiere of that remix rap with Tony, who we finally let out the closet. Yes. So, fam, welcome to our next episode of Whine with YAM. Obviously, we have our friends here, Catherine, Tony, and Bethany, and, you know, Catherine over there just sucking up on the boba. And today our wine, aside from the different topics that we're going to whine about, our wine is, what is it, Catherine? You're our connoisseur of wine. What is the wine today? How do you pronounce it?
Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir, because it's
boys and girls.
French. Yeah.
That's all. I think it's French. Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir. Yeah, something like that.
So just a little thing for you guys who are first listening to this. Hey, you know what? This bottle has like a little hole in the bottom. It's weird. Yeah.
So maybe the wine can have room to breathe. If you notice the Pinot Noir, the shape from the last one, I think last time we had a Merlot, right?
Yeah.
Look at the shape of this one. This one has feel like a longer neck, kind of. Yeah. Droops down. Whereas with the Merlot, it was like more, I don't know.
It was longer.
Yeah. This one seems longer. The shape is different, so that already gives it away. It'll be a different type of wine. So this is awesome.
So this series, guys, if you're a first time listener to this connected podcast, we have a series called Whine with YAM, and it's actually spelled WHINE, and it's an opportunity for us to whine about things while drinking wine, WINE. And this episode is we're having a different type of wine every single time we do this episode. And of course, last episode was Merlot. Today we are, what is it?
Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir. It's French. Yeah. Obviously, we're all wine connoisseurs. and my Pinot Noir is from the Monterey County. It's Han Wineries. Very old aged wine, 2018, pre-COVID. Must be good. It's pre-COVID. There is no masking on this. And produced and bottled by the Han Family Wines. Not sponsored, thank you. But Han Winery, if you want to sponsor us, send us a couple of cases of wine. We will accept. But yeah, so that is my bottle.
Nice.
Awesome.
What you got, Catherine?
So I decided that I'm going to try the wines from the 99-cent store. So I went to go get another one. I think it was $3.99 again. But we'll see how good it is for $3.99. So this one is Camelot from the Camelot Vineyards and Winery, somewhere in California. It doesn't say. And this is unfortunately COVID era. I think it's 2020. So mine is definitely not aged. So we'll see how that tastes.
Oh, it's COVID wine.
Yeah, COVID wine. Cheers. Oh gosh, I hope I don't get sick again.
And the difference here, folks, is obviously Catherine and I are separate, but Tony and Bethany are in the same room. So what's up with that?
One of us lost their home, so I don't know where I'm going with this joke, but we're just Bethany, would you like to tell us what we're drinking?
Yes, we're drinking a Pinot Noir from Donovan Park. It is 2007, so it's pretty aged.
Wow.
Seventh
Wow.
grade. It
Yeah.
was a good year. It was a good year.
2007, 7th grade. Okay. Thank you very much.
For real, right?
Here. Yeah, real.
Arnell, what were you?
Where was I in
2007?
2007? Where was I? Actually, where was I?
Seventh grade. It was in middle
Hmm.
school.
I was not in 7th grade.
No, 8th.
On 7th grade. Where was I? Yeah, so let me go back. Tick, 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 tick. 2007, 2007, 2007, 2005, 2006, 2007. Yeah, I was a unit manager at Lenten Developmental Center, taking care of, how many were there? 32 clients living there and 38 staff. Lenten Developmental Center is now closed, but the people who resided at Lenten Developmental Center at one time was about 5,000 individuals. It was a state hospital for developmental disabled. It was Pacific Colony, and little trivia there, it was the first site of Lenten Developmental Center is where Mount San Antonio Community College is, Mount SAC. So if you look at the buildings of Mount SAC, those were the original hospitals of the day, and it closed down because they ran out of water. 1927. But yeah, that was my first career, was working with development disabled, and it was a wonderful, wonderful job. Yeah, I still remember my friends. But yeah, that was 2007. I was not in the 7th grade.
It's okay.
Yep. So your wine, my wine, and the difference today. Well, let's taste this. Let's see what this tastes like. You know, I gotta. How do you swirl this? Oh, you got a twist cap.
Yeah, I got a twist cap. I was
Got
like,
a twist cap.
amazing, and a cork. Yes.
I have a cork. Hold on.
I'm not that fancy today. Just kidding. You just swirl around.
Swirl it around. Let it breathe. I actually did let it breathe.
Ooh. I like looking. So I don't know if we can see. Sometimes when it drips down, those are called legs. I forgot what that means, but it means,
Oh, the wine has legs.
yeah, the wine has legs.
She's got legs. She knows how to use them, and that's without drinking.
Yeah, yes, guys. If you were wondering, has he started drinking before the recording? My guess would be yes to answer
She's
that
got
question.
legs.
I'm gonna say no because I discovered that Arnell and I share a Dory cell. So cheers to that, Arnell.
Cheers, Dory cell.
Mm. Mm. This is actually not that bad. For $3.99, this is awesome.
Maybe I should go for the 99-cent one, the $3.99. This was $9.99, and
How is it?
it's
The face.
okay. How my chopsticks. Need my barbecue pork.
Oh,
People can hear my chewing.
Good ASMR, I'm telling you. We'll
Okay.
have to do a
It's
disconnect.
different. It's not as dry as a Merlot.
no.
Yeah.
This wine, it's not as bitter.
Uh-uh.
But I do like it better than a Merlot, though.
Yeah. I feel like this
What
is
is
more easier to take. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me a little bit of Cabernet, but lighter. Because the Cabernet I feel is a little on the heavier side.
Have we had a Cabernet?
I don't know if we've had it before.
No.
I was actually gonna suggest for our next wine, picking a complicated one because I like saying the name of it, a Gewürztraminer.
What?
What'd you call us?
That's the name of the wine, Gewürztraminer.
Okay.
You could be making things up. I'm totally
No,
believing.
I'm not. Why would I make it up? That's how you say it.
Actually, I do have a little trivia on
Ooh.
Pinot Noir.
Oh, I want to hear
And
that.
the reason why it's called Pinot Noir is because Pinot
Mhm.
Noir. Pinot
Mhm.
is French for pine, and the
Ooh.
type of grapes that they use
Mhm.
is like clumped up. It's like clustered grapes, and it
Mhm.
looks like pine clusters, and
Ooh.
it's really difficult to I guess to create Pinot Noir. I don't know,
Mhm.
but it's like when you see like when we buy grapes, it's kind of like all separated. Well,
Yeah.
Pinot Noir, the Pinot grapes aren't. They're like it's like all like clustered together. So
Mm.
that's the only thing that I found out about it. So, but it's starting to taste good. So that's a good thing. So, all right. Well,
Remember,
Tony is like, okay, so what's going on there?
forgot to grab water.
Yeah. What happened? So anyway, for you guys who just heard our intro music, we premiered a remix of our intro music created by Parousia. Actually, we didn't do it. Tony did it. Tony remixed our 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 podcast theme that was created by Parousia and created a rap. I thought it was a head bopping tune. So we're gonna use that for today and see how it goes and yeah.
And for the record,
Actually,
as we heard, Tony can rap, y'all. So y'all want a mixtape?
Tony can rap.
Hashtag disconnected podcast mixtape.
Yeah, and that mix actually just takes away our whole intro, my whole intro of Welcome Fam, because it's all in the remix. So I think he just didn't want me to keep saying that, so he just put it all in the remix. So I like it. I like it. People have been liking it. I think it's catchy. It's a catchy tune, right?
Heck yeah, it is. Very catchy.
Good job, Tony.
Thanks. Are we actually playing that whole thing? It's a minute and 30 seconds
It's
opposed
a minute
to
and
the
30 seconds. But yeah, but it's
40 seconds.
I don't know, but we'll see. I don't know. You're either gonna have to shorten it or we're just gonna play it. I like it. Who cares?
All right.
I like it.
Fair enough.
Carry on. Okay, so the difference in today's wine with Yam, aside from whining, is we're actually, aside from doing our Dory moments of just going randomly, just talking, we're going to give each other the opportunity to pick a topic that we're going to discuss. And since the four of us, and since I said, no, not it, I'm last, we're going to, and Catherine said, no, not it. So she said, I'm going third.
Yeah.
So we left it with Tony and Bethany to decide. And so we know how Tony is, such a gentleman, and let Bethany decide who's going to go first. The person who's indecisive.
She's graciously saying that I can go ahead. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I had a question for you guys. I think we've all had this thing called jobs. I mean, I've heard that we need it for money and that sort of thing. Arnell is dying. So I had a question. Did you guys want to talk about a great job experience? Well, this could be, with a coworker, with a boss, maybe just the job as a whole, or since it's wine, we could talk about a bad job experience. It could be with a coworker, it could be with a boss, it could be just the job as a whole. My recommendation, you probably might not want to say names. This is just for your job, your career, but we could still have a little discussion on this. So what do you guys think?
I don't mind. I'm going to retire in a couple of years, so who cares?
Yeah, Arnell could go first. He could kick us off.
Oh my gosh. Arnell, that's
Wait, I'm going to go first? I think I should go last.
Okay, I'll go first.
All right.
So I had a combination of experiences when I was still teaching here. I won't say where I used to teach. That's part of the confidentiality. But anyone who knows me, they'll know where I worked. So arriving at my first teaching job, I was very enthusiastic. I never knew that you could actually teach in Spanish through the dual immersion programs. So that's exciting. I will say that I miss teaching in Spanish. So seeing myself teach in English all day is kind of like, I'm like, I miss being able to just say things or phrases in Spanish. But I'll do whatever God calls me to do. But anyhow, I didn't know what to expect really. I wasn't even sure if I would have good relationships with people. at my first school site, and it turned out a lot better than I thought it would. I was befriended or taken in under the wing of several people who mentor me, and to this day still mentor me, still make fun of me, still they're like, I will say one of my coworkers, just she's sarcastic and hilarious. She sometimes asks, "Are you dumb?" Along with other things. And I thought that was always funny. So I always use my Dory style to get a reaction out of her because I just thought it was funny. The funniest thing I ever said to this particular coworker was, "Oh my gosh, you're my mom's age." And it was funny seeing her walk away from me, like, shut up. But I will say that one of the things that did come out of it is I learned that some people, despite their strong personalities and them meaning well, will sometimes let those personal feelings get in the way of doing the things that we need to do. One of the reasons why I left this position specifically, I felt the morale at the school had gone way down. I felt there was, if you were in the good club, you got recognized. I didn't need recognition to know that I was doing my job well, but it kind of hurt the morale of the school and lessened the trust in the people that were supposed to be our leaders. And additionally, I felt there was a lot of good teachers that got chased out of the school. But in the midst of all this, one thing I really enjoyed was knowing that no matter where I went, no matter what I did, I still was able somehow, I don't know how, but somehow I made a difference in the life of kids who are forever empowered by my crazy stories, my loud laugh. Yes, that was the thing. That's how people actually would find me on campus. They're like, "Oh, just wait. Somebody will make her laugh and then you'll know exactly where she is so that you can go find her if you need her." So yeah, that was my laugh. Some people couldn't stand the fact that I was joyous of life, that I was positive. And it was sad. Like I had someone straight up tell me one time, "If I was your student, I would hate it because you're too happy." Tell me how sad with life do you have to be to say something like that? Rather than me reacting, I just kind of backed up slowly and walked away from that situation. I was like, I'm not going to react because this person is obviously not coming from a good place and it has nothing to do with me and everything with them. And the beautiful part of all this, aside from all that stuff, was I met, I guess, we don't really call each other best friends, but I guess kind of like a best friend. We're really close, always calling each other. And if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I still would have gone through with China, because the day before I left, I had a meltdown. Like, I don't know if this is a good idea anymore. I was like, should I still leave? And I was like crying on the phone with her. Oh my gosh. But she helped me get through China. We called each other a lot when I was in China. But now that I've been back, it's been kind of hard, our schedules and whatnot, and then we just forget to call each other. But I'm trying to make more of an effort to stay in touch with her, to call her more often, because she's someone that is a really great friend to me. And we've both been there for each other through everything. She indulges me, or not indulges me, but encourages me to do things like, "Hey, you want to take that trip? You go. I'm not going with you, but hey, go." She's also another one that the one I went to Napa all those years ago, that's the person I went with. We shared a lot of funny memories together. When I was having a really bad time, when there was a lot of stuff going on at home, I would actually go crash at her couch because I was like, "I don't want to be at my house. Can I stay at your house?" So yeah, so that was the beautiful thing. So I know that I probably won't have that wherever I work next, because it takes a lot of effort on people. But when you have that sense of familiarity with people you work with, it makes your job a whole lot easier and more welcoming, and just, yeah, amazing all around.
What was the question?
All right, Dory, just keep swimming.
The topic was sharing a story, an experience of a job that you really enjoyed, whether that be an encounter in the job with a coworker, maybe someone that maybe the boss, whatever the case may be, or the opposite of that, a very unpleasant experience in the job or a conversation encounter within the confines of an employee.
I think I shared earlier, my most favorite job ever was working at Vocational Industries at Lenten Developmental Center. And it was one of those places that if you can get in there, it was like the best job. And then I got the best job of the best job, which was I got to run what we called Main Street USA. And Main Street USA, if you've ever worked with in a population with developmental disabilities, people with developmental disabilities, it's introducing them into the community, and allowing them to opportunity to succeed. Well, because our facility was a lot of individuals who are very much institutionalized, trying to get them to succeed outside and training them outside was somewhat very difficult, and you never wanted them to at that point fail. So we created this place called Main Street USA. We created this building, and it had a Blockbuster video. It had a movie theater. It had a little restaurant cafe. It had a little store. It had a pool hall. It had a computer lab and classrooms. And the clients could go there and experience working there, experience renting videos, and practice with their staff, and practice ordering and going to the ATM and taking out money and things like that, so that when they did go to 7-Eleven, they knew they had to pay, they knew they had to wait for change, and things like that. And it was just a great fun work. I never not wanted to go to work. I also managed the cafe, the canteen, where the clients went to get coffee and snacks. And I also got to manage. I couldn't say I really managed it. And we had this place, this little house. It was called Carousel Corner, and basically the ladies in there provided jobs for the clients, and they made they basically made dolls, like stuffed dolls, and made those dolls that look like, if you like sent them a picture of you at 2 years old, they'll make the doll. And it was a doll that would stand in the corner like on timeout. And so the fun thing with that was I just got to watch them, and the house, it was literally a whole house that was filled with stuff. It was like going to like one of those Christmas homes. And I did that for 2 years. I loved it. I only hired student assistants, because student assistants you can hire and fire, and you didn't have to do any evaluations. They didn't do your bidding. You're like, okay, you can go now. Love those college students that just wanted to work. So, and then they promoted me, and life sucked after that. Just kidding. But it was just the best job to come in, go to your office, and meet with your staff and say, okay, what fun stuff have you guys come up with? What fun things can we do? And it was the first job that, I got to actually go into work, and my wife would say, aren't you getting dressed? I mean, we went to work in tennis shoes, shorts, and a tank top, because what we're going to do is we're going to paint walls and be creative. So it was just a blessing to be able to do that. I wish I could do that again one day. It's enough about me. So back to you, Tony and Bethany.
Well, I am a gentleman, so I will pass it on to Bethany, because chivalry is not dead. It is not.
Okay, I'll go. I've had just an overall positive experience with all of my jobs. When I started working in education, I worked at an elementary school, and I was a student intern. And so I finished that job, and it was like the best elementary school. And I was like, Lord, where do you go when you have the best, And so then I started working at another elementary school for 2 years as a substitute teacher. And I was like, this place is phenomenal. I mean, they gave you such wonderful support, and the children were so just amazing. And then when I finished grad school and it was time to start my internship to become a school psychologist, I was like, Lord, where do you go now that you actually experience the best? I'm like, I'm just going to go down. That's the only place to go. And then I started my internship, and I was at a high school and another elementary school. And those places were just as phenomenal, with the best, like I had the best supervision throughout my internship year. The principals were amazing. The kids, again, phenomenal. So when I actually got a job, like as a real school psychologist, I was like, okay, God, here it is. This is where I go down. And so actually, I'm now in my current position, I work with a group of just wonderful women. I mean, literally, the team is nothing but women. And they have been so supportive because I'm like, here's like the new girl, like literally fresh out of grad school with all of these veterans. I'm like, they're just gonna be like, yeah, whatever, figure it out. But no, it's been such a great experience, and they've really created this, family environment. Even though we're all virtual, I've never met the majority of them in real life, but it's like, wow. So we're able to collaborate, and yeah, that's it for me. I loved all my jobs.
Isn't it sometimes though that and I see this in a lot of people. I listen to a lot of people. That's my job now, my current role. I love my current role. It's a EAP person, which is you basically just listen and give resources. So, and you don't have to actually document anything. So, as for a lazy documenter from days past, I love the job that basically says, okay, you have an appointment. That's all we need to know. And then you listen for an hour, and then you work with them. But isn't it sometimes you feel it's like Bethany just said, that she's just had phenomenal jobs everywhere, but sometimes isn't it where it's your perspective, it's how you come into it. If you're going into it and says, oh my gosh, these people are going to suck, it's going to suck, and then it sucks, you're kind of like, well, I knew it's going to suck. But if you come in and says, oh, this is nerve-wracking, but I know it's going to be great, it's an opportunity for me, and you find the positive people. And because I've had that happen where someone says, so you're in that department, it sucks, doesn't it? And you're like, actually no, it's pretty good. And they're like, how do you, and people will say, how do you see the goodness in that? And it's like, well, I guess it's our Catholic upbringing. How do you see the goodness in people?
Mhm.
It's kind of like Jesus says, well, you can find goodness in everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I don't want to make it seem like, oh, everything is all hunky-dory all the time. No, I've cried. It's like, there have been days where I have cried, but like you said, Arnell, I mean, it's our faith that keeps me going. And sometimes you deal with challenging people, but I'm like, you know what, I don't know what's going on in their personal life. I don't, I try not to take things too personally, and so because they could just be projecting. So yeah. So
And I see that a lot in my line of work.
mhm.
That I see that a lot, that they've made their career very miserable. They've made that career very miserable because they've always like really personalized everything. And I like saying to people, it's like, you're not the most important person in that person's life, so let it go.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which leaves us to Tony.
Yes, so I'm gonna share two stories of times where I could not let it go. No, but the stories I wanted to share was actually I feel like maybe they could be beneficial for younger people looking for jobs, starter jobs, right? So one of the first jobs I've had was actually working at a stadium, a baseball stadium. It was for the minor league. It was Mavericks Stadium, and my job was to work the soundboard, right? Play the sounds. If ball goes off in the foul line, we go ball, 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 ball. From whichever movie that was. Do all that, do the trying to get them riled up, all that fun stuff, right? The problem with that job was I also didn't really know much about baseball, and apparently you need to know that to run all that stuff. But that's just another story. Apparently, like there's hand movements the umpire does. You're supposed to. That's when the ball's dead or something. I don't know. There's like 3 strikes and you're out. I don't know. But anyway, the point of the story is that I was really fired up. I'm a music person. I love music, and this was actually a way for me to actually play songs and get, you learn like little things of like, okay, the audience likes this song, so maybe this song will hype them up even more. This is the time, the game's getting really tense, maybe play softer, whatever, I love the job. It was really fun. But then there was a boss that would flat out yell at you and cuss at you and blow their top. I'm sure we've all had these type of situations that have happened, unfortunately, and this is something that happens. And for my young people listening, if you have that, there's a thing that you could actually do. You can actually stick up for yourself. And what I did is I actually went to the supervisor and said, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable in this work environment. And not that this is going to be the outcome every time, but the supervisor actually talked to the main boss, and he actually did change his attitude. That was the first story I wanted to share. And there was a second story. I did about a year and a half of working for the free phone business. For those that don't know, the free phone is not like, well, a free phone. It's for low income households, right? And you work with a lot of people that have low income. You deal with people that are homeless, and this job was very much out of my comfort zone because you're like out on the street essentially. You'll have your post up, maybe a tent if you're lucky, but going around and just asking people, would you like a free phone, right? And I remember the first time I go around, I'm out at my post. I didn't know what to expect. I go, hey, sir, would you like a free phone? And this is a family-friendly podcast, but the person goes, shut the front door of your free phone, right? You can insert the wording there. And I tell you this, yeah, French. But I tell you the story because that job showed me a lot of rejection, right? And whatever job that you do feel like you fall into, especially for people that are going into jobs at first, if you go on a fast food, you're probably going to get a lot of that, right? A lot of experiencing of rejection, of being put down. But you know what? This actually taught me so much for ministry and how to minister to others, right? We've mentioned of like, well, whatever they're going through, it must be something that's going through with their heart, right? So it doesn't affect you. And surprise, surprise, in any form of ministry, both in parish life or outside in the world, we are going to experience people that have a lot of brokenness in their hearts. And it's insane because I had these different job experiences. And this is when I was like fresh out of high school or like in high school. And you kind of just let it go and you don't realize what it's teaching you at the time. But it's taught me so much. It taught me how to really take in rejection and actually get strengthened by it. So I don't know, that's just something when we were talking about the different topics, that's something that I felt like sharing because I wish someone should share that with me. It's almost like being cussed out on a regular day basis, and it was several times a day. It just shapes your heart in a way. It's like, just like the crucifixion, because God takes a very ugly thing, a very bad thing, and there's still beauty to be from that. So that is all I had to share.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because I do believe that how we minister as youth ministers, as young adult ministers, is affected by our life experiences. I have to share that the always the way that I did ministry was the way that I treated my clients. I used the child development guidelines, the stages of child development with the youth in high school looking for belongingness. It's so someone asked me, it's like, so how do you work with a youth? It's like, well, they're all development disabled. That's how I look at them. They're at the stages of development, and they're still searching for that, and so you provide them that opportunity. And I've always told parents who come and speak to me and says, how come the kids listen to you and they won't listen to me? And honestly, I tell the parents, because you're not the most important people in their life right now. It's their peer group. So surround them with a really good peer group and they will succeed. That's just the key. Surround them with a really good peer group. Hence, a really good youth group, a really good young adult group is the key. And it's not always that everyone's going to succeed, but definitely planting some really good seeds in some really good soil, really deep for it to grow. So, Bethany, I think you're up with your topic. I can't wait to share mine because I just want to whine with that.
I'm scared to hear yours.
And Catherine knows what it is.
Well, since it's Lent. Okay, well, I first want to preface this. Okay, Arnell, you posted on Ash Wednesday that we are only obligated to fast on Ash Wednesday and Good Friday, right? Well, I have lived my entire life thinking you have to fast every Friday. And not just abstain from meat. So I'm over here living my life, fasting on Fridays. And then I see that post and I was like, what? I'm over here telling people, oh, you have to fast, like, oh no, have your one meal and then your two little meals, but just make sure those two little meals don't make up one big meal, and so yeah, so I was like, that was a revelation. I was like, oh dear, I've been living my life wrong.
Well, you're not half wrong though, because I think I don't remember when the instructions changed to make it a little bit more easier. Because when again, I'm a little bit older than you guys, but I remember when we were fasting, it was like midnight. Fasting started at midnight. It didn't, you didn't. I remember my mom, who used to make us fast, is like no drinking, no water, no food. It was like from midnight to midnight, and so it's like, so it was a struggle. And the fact that when we Sundays, we like to go to the early mass because you couldn't eat, because you were fasting until you received communion. So those were the fasting rules of the old days. I think they made it a little bit easier, but I still, we still fast on Fridays, even though the requirement is, on Good Friday and Ash Wednesday. In my family, we still fast and abstain on Fridays because it's good. Fasting is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
Yeah, I still eat only one meal on Friday. That's it. So I don't do, like, I told Tony, I said I only not like completely eat on Good Friday. On Good Friday, I do like a whole, I'm not eating. I'll only drink water on Good Friday. So, but anyway, so I just wanted to tell you that. So that's not the topic though. The topic.
Okay. We're like, okay, moving on.
But since we're talking about Lent, I kind of just wanted to know what everybody like is giving up for Lent, or what you've started doing during Lent, and like the reasoning behind it.
His wine is just delicious.
It looks like it.
Yeah. I'll have what he's having. Wow.
For real. For real.
I have water. Thank you.
No, you're gonna mess up the pH balance on your palate.
English.
Okay, I don't even know what pH is.
The stuff on our tongue. Yeah.
I'm feeling a little unbalanced.
Oh,
But hey, you know what I'm giving up? I'm actually giving up Fox News. I'm giving up CNN. I'm giving up MNSBC. I'm giving up all those sites that talk about politics. And so when someone actually, and giving up all news channels and things like that, when someone asked me, it's like, what do you think about the 317 girls that were kidnapped in Nigeria? I was like, what? So I actually didn't know, because I wasn't following any of the news. And then the Lady Gaga thing, I didn't know until you guys brought it up, and I was like, what? So yeah, that's what I'm giving up.
Go ahead, Tony.
Well, I guess this kind of brings up the question. I can share what I'm trying to implement. Right? We're also trying to give something to God as part of giving up something. What are we also giving? And Arnell is very much distracting me. I like the dog in Up, and I get my complete attention. What are we talking about? No. I'm gonna try to be reading more from the Theology of the Body, like the actual book. I've read plenty of the youth versions. I'm the youth minister. I've read plenty of the middle school version of it, the high school, but trying to actually dive into the actual wording, word for word, because I feel like I have a decent understanding of it, as a whole, as a concept, but not word for word. So that's what I'm adding. But I guess a sub conversation is, I've never really felt comfortable sharing what I want to give up. And I don't know if that's strictly because of like the passage. I know we heard it a few weeks ago of, actually, I think me and Arnell were talking about it. I could be mistaken, but don't show that you're fasting.
Yeah.
Don't look like that. Don't put it out there. And I know that that's not what we're doing when we ask this question, right? We're sharing it as like, how can we better cheer you on?
Yeah.
How can we better walk with you in this, right? But I don't know. I've always felt like it's very difficult for me to share because I feel like it's a very personal thing between me and God. And I don't know, maybe one of you guys can kind of change my mind on that. Is that an okay way of thinking?
I think it's really up to you. There's not one way. I don't think, for me, when I hear people are like, I'm gonna take up the liturgy of the hours, that actually encourages me to improve my prayer life. So I don't think I think there's a difference between just talking about it and boasting. Like, look what I'm doing. I wake up at 6 o'clock every morning now. What do you do? Like.
And sometimes when you broadcast it like that, it gives you that added pressure to make sure that you do it. And I always say, it's like, give yourself permission to not share, give yourself permission to share, and give yourself permission to fail. I think that's a lot of times people who take up things or give up something or trying to gain something from Lent, during this Lenten fast, and they fail. It's like, I failed again, so why bother? It's like, well, you failed, you forgot, so get right back on and just keep doing it. I mean, if we believe in a forgiving Jesus, then we need to make sure that we give ourselves permission to fail. And I like to always tell people that, it's like, give yourself permission to fail or to make a mistake and to get back on and do it. So if you don't want to share, don't share. It's like, so, but thank you for sharing, Tony. Now that you've shared with the rest of the world, they hold you to it.
Well, no, but like, I'm not sharing what I want to give up is what
I was about ready to broadcast that, Tony.
No, what? Well, you do understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
I'm sharing what I want to give, add to my plate, but I don't feel comfortable sharing what I want to subtract, give up, so to speak.
All right. Erase that post. Erase. Tony is not going to share what he's giving up for Lent.
Yeah.
I almost had it too. I was gonna post that.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Who hasn't shared?
Catherine.
Catherine, what did you give up, or what are you doing for Lent?
All right, before I go forward, I just want to give a shout out to my friend who was being a scaredy cat about something, and she did it. Yeah! So I'm proud of her. I can't say exactly what she's doing, what she's gonna be up to, but I just thought it was funny how she reached out to me yesterday, like stressed out a little bit about what she was gonna do. And today she finally submitted that thing she needed to submit. So I'm excited for her. So prayers for her, the next part of her journey.
Good
and
deal.
To med school in the future. So, all right. So I downloaded, you can't really see them too good, but these are the cards from, I think, Novena cards. I don't know if you've heard of that account, Novena cards. So they have like free downloads, such as this one. This is the 54-day Novena Rosary. Yes. So I put a lot of stuff on here, and I knew, I was like, man, I'm just writing stuff down, but I don't know if I'll actually pull through with it. I'm like, I think this is a lot, but I just felt I needed to write it down. And for me, the most important thing I realized going into Lent was that I needed to develop more of a personal and intimate relationship with God. And what do I mean by that? Well, I've been discerning for a little over a year now, and I feel I'm still in the same place. And I was I've been thinking about that. It's been on my heart. And one of the books that I picked up and started reading is called Discerning Religious Life. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going into religious life, but I just think it's an overall good book to read. And one of the things that they mentioned in the book was having a more intimate relationship with God, being one with Him. And it made me think like the things that I do for Lent, in addition to fasting and almsgiving, I really need to improve my prayer life. So most of these things have to do with prayer, like the liturgy of the hours, consecration to Saint Joseph. If you're doing that one, you do the litany to Saint Joseph every day. You know, there's some form of prayer in there also every day. I've been trying to make it to daily mass. It seems like the only daily mass I can make, and for me, this is a huge one, is the 7 a.m. mass. Like who in the right mind is gonna wake up to like around 5 or 6 in the morning? But they don't have to go to work until like later in the afternoon. Yeah, this one. Or I try at least. And let me see what other things. For me, another big thing was, y'all know I love BTS. If you haven't heard the previous episodes, well, now you know. And one of the things I decided to give up was meaningless shopping. So I'm not gonna shop for things I don't need. I don't need more clothes. I don't need more shoes. I don't even need any more BTS albums or merchandise. So if BTS drops merch, which they did, I said, deuces, I ain't shopping. And I did. I stuck to my rule, even though there was a lot of peer pressure in this group chat I'm a part of. I said, nope, I ain't gonna relent. I was like, peace out. I was like, God, my wallet can get big for you. I'll do that gladly. And another thing that has really made me even more reflective is the silence that I spend my time in. So I no longer listen to music while I'm getting ready or on a drive somewhere. Instead, I'm listening to rosaries, podcasts, something else that's gonna add a bit more value. Because the way I see it, I'm growing today and I'm making those painstaking decisions, however you want to see it, to grow so that someone else can benefit from these gifts that I have that God really wants me to use and put out into the world. What's the use of holding it in and not letting it out, especially when it's going to benefit so many other people? Whether I get recognition or not for the work I do, that's not important. But this is people's salvation, people's faith that we're talking about here. And we're the beacons of hope to, in a certain sense. And I want to be able to be that, but I cannot be that if I feel like I'm shaky in my faith. I don't feel confident. I'm not perfect, far from it, but I'm thankful for that. And so those are the things that I really, really want to grow in and help me this Lent.
Oh, it's huge. Makes me feel small.
Stop. Stop. No.
Drink some more wine.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
Catherine, it's your turn. What's your topic?
Wait,
No,
topic.
Bethany. Did she share what she's gonna give up for Lent, or I missed it?
Oh no, I haven't shared yet.
Drink your wine, Arno. He did the face. Oh my gosh, the challenge face, Tony.
The challenge that no one else took on.
Oh my gosh, it would be funny if we all do it right now. Then somebody snaps a screenshot of it, and
I don't know. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Bethany can't do it. There's too much wine already. I hit it. Got it.
Oh my gosh, my face is
I got
hot.
it.
No.
That's gonna be our caption for this episode.
Yes. Wait, no sorority letters? Okay, that's good.
All right. So Bethany, what is it?
So for me, I went back on my calorie deficit. I think I talked about this on the first episode. So lately I have been finding a lot of comfort in food. I'm a junk food junkie. I mean, I love sweets, cakes, brownies, donuts. I mean, I love it so much. But I noticed that um I was just getting so unhealthy, you know. I mean, I'm pretty much sedentary because I'm at my computer all day, and you know, I mean, I love my job, but it can be really stressful. So every time I was stressed, I needed that dopamine. So let me go see what sweets we have, you know. And then like I would walk down the street like and be out of breath and like my muscles hurt. I'm like, oh, this is so unhealthy. And so what I was doing is, you know, instead of finding comfort in food, maybe I should find comfort in our Lord, you know, the man that always like he gives us comfort all of the time, and he's just waiting for us, you know, to come into his arms. So now what I do is when I start feeling stressed and I want to reach for that bag of chips or those donuts, I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm sacrificing this for you, you know. And so temptation.
You're terrible. Terrible.
He pulls out his bag of chips.
Oh, I'm about to start talking. Le voy a empezar a hablar en español. ¿Cómo te atreves a sacar eso enfrente de ella, pobrecita?
Uh-huh.
Barbecue
Uh,
chips.
I'm gonna edit the subtitles for my non-Spanish speaking friends. Don't worry, I got you.
Lo dije muy rápido a propósito.
Pollo loco.
Wow.
Hey, that's one thing I've been told. I
Yeah, I
speak
always say,
Spanish
Bethany,
fast.
you know, it takes a strong person to do what you're doing. And I'm sorry you're gonna fail because you know you're always you have Tony and he's sweet.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
There you go.
I made that joke on Ash Wednesday. I said, sorry, Tony. See you on Easter.
Right. Go back inside the closet.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that was the first roast of this podcast.
First roast of the
We went really well. We had a good run. We had a
Tony
good.
roast.
Okay, I will say, Tony, somebody told me, man, y'all do really roast him, pobrecito. So cheers to that. Pobrecito. I'm sorry, Tony.
It's
It's
strengthening.
so funny though.
You know, as in my family would say, if we don't roast you, we don't like you.
That's right. I agree
So
with
who
that.
gets roast the least here? Who's the least likable?
I think we've roasted everyone.
No, everyone's gotten roasted.
Yeah. I think that's like mutual love right
We
there.
got a lot of
sure.
love in here. Yes,
A lot
sir.
of love in this room. A lot of love.
A lot
in
of
this,
love.
this virtual room, a lot of love. A lot of
A
love.
lot of love.
Love.
Letting that breathe.
Let it marinate.
Okay, Catherine, what's your topic?
Okay, I'm gonna change it on you last minute. I feel this in my heart. So
What?
yeah, so I'm not gonna do what I initially told you. And I
Folks,
knew
this is going to be a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah, it is. Hallelujah. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I did mention that I've been on my discernment journey now for over a year and a half. Over a year now. So I want to know for you all, and also to provide encouragement to everyone listening, what's been frustrating about your discernment journey and how do you deal with it?
I'm no longer discerning.
Go back when you were discerning.
It's no longer discerning. I'm married. Going on 25 years.
Catherine, can you make a clarification of discerning what?
Well, if you're okay, I think everyone is always discerning something. Yes, even you are now. You know, you might be discerning, should I stay or should I go? You know, whether it be ministry work or who, you know, whatever. But for this one specifically, a vocation, a discernment, a vocation. Oh yeah, vocation discernment. Because I think there's a lot of people who feel stuck sometimes and feel like they're moving nowhere, you know. And this is not just based off my own personal experience, but things that I've been hearing from people, conversations, like people feel stuck. So what do you do when you feel frustrated in your journey?
You know, let me share a little bit on this. My whine with discerning vocation and walking with young people is the lack. My thing is the lack of encouragement from people to say it's okay to discern vocation into the priesthood. It's okay, that's a good thing. And what I see is instead what they're hearing is someone says, I think I want to be a priest. And instead my whine on that is that people are said, well, you know what, you're a little too young, live your life, and it's okay, just wait until you're in college. And then I was listening to a religious sister whose name is not to be mentioned, but she will be on the podcast, Sister Josephine Garrett, who said, you know what, 5th grade, if they're talking about it, encourage them. 5th grade. And I'm like, cool. I thought it was 6th grade, so I can go down one more grade.
Ooh.
So that's my whine, is the lack of encouragement from parents, lack of encouragement from the clergy. My point on people who are younger, and then guiding them through. It's almost like we're encouraging them. Oh no, live life. And then if God's still calling you, if God's calling you in the 5th grade, and God's calling you.
Can I add to that? I know plenty of seminarians that are currently actively discerning, right, in that form. And what one shared with me, and it really struck me because it might be polarizing to an extent, but I do think there's truth to it. And that is to say, priesthood, religious life, that should be discerned first, because we're all called to be mothers and fathers in some form, right? That is something that's in our hearts regardless, right? So to automatically check the box that we're discerning marriage, it might be an error. And I'm emphasizing might because I can't say, right? I'm not God. I'm just sharing what this seminarian shared with me. And to discern priesthood, religious life first, because that's an extraordinary, forgive me if I'm not using the proper words, but that's an extraordinary vocation, right? That's more rare, if fair to say. So if you feel called there, that's going to be more of a defining moment for you, right? And if you never try, if you just check the box, I desire to be a parent of some sort, I desire to have a husband or a wife, that's ingrained in your heart either way, right? Based off of what theology about it, based off of what we St. John Paul II has revealed to us, God has revealed to us, book of Genesis, right? Creation. So that's in your heart either way. So to try to discern the priesthood vocation, religious life, it just makes more sense because you'll get a definite answer regardless, right? But you're always going to pick marriage first because that's engraved in the way you were made in your hearts. So I don't know if I did that example justice to what he was trying to relay. But to answer to your question, Catherine, what wrestled in my heart when I was discerning the priesthood, because I was about a year and a half ago, roughly. This is what was my defining moment. I know discernment's a very personal thing, so this might not be helpful for everyone, but I looked very hard with my vocation, with the vocation director, with the person that gives me spiritual direction. What are my talents? What are my gifts? God's not going to call you to something that you can't physically do, that you can actually do, right? He's going to give you those tools. And I looked at my talents and I looked at the priesthood. I was reading books on it. I was looking at, I've gone more relationships with priests given my job, right? I know them more than just like that person that's up there in mass. I was looking at their lives objectively, and this isn't my talents. I have some of them. I'm not throwing those talents that God's given me. I'm not just saying, oh, those don't exist. They do, but I just don't have all the gifts, all those things that require to be a priest. And when I started looking at that objectively, there came to be such a peace in my heart. And then when I started to again redirect my heart to possibly marriage, there was such again a more peace. And obviously I'm not married, I'm not a priest, so I'm still actively discerning. But since I've gone back to this route of visioning myself as a possible husband in some form eventually in my life, there's been such more peace. So looking at it objectively in terms of talents is what has helped put peace in my heart. So I don't know if that, and that's obviously shortening it up completely. There was a lot more to that, but if I had to boil it down, I think that was the defining moment for me, if that helps answer the question.
Definitely does. Yes.
I think he would make a wonderful person.
I think I am a person. I have a body and a
Yeah.
soul. I think
I didn't want to say because can go either way.
Mhm.
I would make a great father.
Yes, you would make a great father. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Let me just drink. Hold on.
Just
Yeah.
say it. I think my buzz is coming in.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Catholic dad buzz.
Not bad buzz.
I'm just kidding.
Who's-
What's your
who's
answer
that?
to the
Oh look,
question?
Tony's ruining his pH balance. He's drinking water.
Boom.
I'm trying not to get a headache because this is sweet. So
Mm.
Excuses. That's what
Yeah.
I.
We always said Tony was sweet. Why
Oh.
Bethany's attracted to him. She enjoys junk food.
Mhm.
I'm
Oh.
junk.
Food. No, we said you're sweet.
Oh,
So where were we?
I
All
think
right.
Bethany was going to share.
Yes.
You know, I really wanted to be a religious sister when I was in my confirmation program because I really fell in love with God during that program. I mean, I was like, I want to spend all my time with him, And I remember my first religious congress. I met a Salesian sister, and I love St. John Bosco. I mean, he was one of the first saints that I was introduced to, and I grew up in a family full of educators, and so it made sense. And I met a Salesian sister, and I just fell in love with that order. I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I want to do, and you know how they have oh dear. I think my buzz is kicking in. I'm sorry. My eyes are heavy. But you know how they hold meetings, where you can come meet the
Come and see?
sisters. Huh?
Come and see.
Yes, thank you.
Come and see the glory of Easter dawn.
Arnell's been drinking.
Sorry, that was a play. Go ahead.
But it never worked out, and I've had like several opportunities to go to those things, and it never worked out. And I was like something came up, or because I was fairly young, so I didn't have like a ride, and so I was like, you know what, maybe let me put that on hold for a bit. But
It's to readjust the camera lighting.
This is what happens when you drink wine with YAM.
I was just gonna let her keep talking.
this is my favorite episode so far.
Oh my gosh! I thought he was dropping the wine. I almost had a heart attack. I was like, "Don't waste the wine."
So Bethany, it didn't work out.
Did it work out?
I put that on hold, and even though I've been in relationships, I'm still discerning, and however, I love working in the secular world, and I've had a lot of jobs where I thought, I think God's, guiding me in this direction, and he wasn't, and I was miserable. And now, right now, in my current position, this is where I feel called. So I know that I need to work in the secular world. And I know that right now religious life is not for me. That's just because of what the direction that God has put me in, and all of the paths. And it wasn't an easy path. I had to fall a lot. I had to fail. I had to get back up, but right now I know, God, you want me here in the secular world. As far as, so I know religious life is not, I don't think I'm being called to religious life. As far as, marriage or single life, that is something you have to discern every day. Even though I'm in a, we're in a relationship, we don't know where God's going to take us, but if it works out, it's great. If it doesn't work out, that's great too, because I know God has an amazing plan for both of us. And so, I mean, I just put my faith in God, because God had first for my life, he has, turned my life in a direction I never thought he would take me in.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, thank you for that, because that's it's true. We are discerning every day, and thank you for your candor about that. And I just want to add that we've always been wondering who in the world is, Catherine, haven't you been wondering? I've been wondering, because it's never been announced. It's like, who in the world is Bethany and Tony seeing? I'm like,
that's private.
it's like, and when do they find time to see these people, because they're always together?
I will say this. I almost, without a doubt, that thought that you were going to acknowledge this the second this happened, because me and Bethany are in a relationship. Wow.
Was I not supposed to say anything? Did I put us on blast?
No, is
Did-
this an unspoken secret? Like, we're posting pictures of each other.
Did-
Accounts are private.
Mine are not, so they definitely know.
Did we just announce that?
Oh my gosh. If you didn't know, now you know. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Okay, I will say this. Okay, because of an experience I had, when people have asked me, even though I knew that this couple, not necessarily referred to you too, but been asked before, oh, do you know so and so's together? I'm like, I don't know. When I really did know they were together, but it was no one's business. That's not my story to tell. Like, that's always been my favorite phrase. Somebody asks you something about someone, oh, not my story to tell. If they say, oh, that's on them. But
You should
even then,
ask me.
yeah.
You should ask me, dude. Yeah. It's like, you should
No,
go,
you
come and see the glory of Easter dawn. See a new creation in Jesus Christ our Lord. Come and see the glory of.
Oh my
I'm gonna
gosh.
remix that. I'm
Cheers.
gonna take that clip.
Cheers. I'll take a drink.
We used to do an Easter play, an Easter dawn play. It was called Salubong in Filipino, which means the
Ooh.
encounter. And that was the song Jesus
Encuentro.
Christ would sing when he would resurrect and he's with Mary. It would be that song. I should show that video, but it's one of the podcasts actually for Easter.
Oh,
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah, listen to that, because the singing there. It wasn't me. If it was me, it would have been better. But just saying. Just saying.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yes.
So I just want to say thank you so much for your insights. I kind of didn't really realize why I was asking this question. I thought it was Holy Spirit put it on my heart. I'm glad I asked it, because in a couple of weeks I'm actually going to be giving one of the RCIA sessions on vocations. We already did the one on holy matrimony, but we're going to do the next one on religious life, religious orders, sorry, because it's sacrament. But I will mention religious life and all that, the difference and all that stuff. But I think this is important to know, because most of our participants are married. There's a couple participants that are young. Like, if they're not 18, they will be turning 18 this year. But most of them are married, have a family, and I really want to drive especially that message that you said right now about lack of encouragement from people around them to even think about it or consider it. And I speak about that. That right there really hit me in the heart, because I feel like I was never really encouraged to consider religious life, even though I have two aunts that are Carmelites. And anytime I mention in the house, hey, what if it's religious life? Like, what if God wants me to give him my whole life? No, you cannot do that. Like, no, you're too old. You have to give up BTS. I'm like, I'm down. I was like, if God said do that, I'll do it. Where do I sign my name? Because to me, it's not a issue of like, oh, can I give that up? It's not. It's like, where's the best way for me to really serve God? And I think sometimes I get frustrated because I feel like I think I know, but then I really don't know. And so it's like you're taking 2 steps forward, but you're taking 5 steps back. And so when I'm right now that I'm reading that book, Discerning Religious Life, I was like, God, I feel like I'm getting the stirs again. Like, I don't know. Like, are you telling me to look at that? But I just know that I know he asked me to really be open to everything, be open to all the vocations, because the one vocation that I was really turned off by and said, no, I'm not doing that one, was marriage. I really did not want to be open to that one. But in the spring, sometime last year, I felt like Saint Therese asked me to read something to her, and I'm over here reading it to her. And then I end up in tears because I realized I'm not open to everything. And what got to me was like, I'm not really open to be loved by someone else, let someone else love me. And I'm not sure that I'm open to loving someone else. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm still discerning. I think I'm at peace with something now, but I don't want to say yet because I think it still needs some time to develop. But I'm looking forward to going in whatever direction God wants to take me in, and whatever is the easiest way for me to get into heaven. It's not going to be easy, definitely not, but I can't wait. And one of the things I meant to mention, one of the things that I'm also part of is the Salesian Sisters Fiat Project. If you've never heard of it, check it out. They always have a cohort. I think they start in the fall and in October, and they end in May. So the group that's going right now, we're almost done. Like, I can't believe like those 8 months like flew by pretty quick. And this is where I've learned a lot about discerning the different vocations. But I think the most important thing is asking God to reveal those parts of you that maybe need healing, maybe that you need to free or detach from, so that he can work in you.
Wow, it's deep. It's deep. Mine is really shallow, but
but it's funny. But
we're gonna close it in this, and it's not like it's just a discussion. But I just want you guys and the listeners, I want your perspective on this. I'm thinking because we need to start raising funds for the podcast so that we can support young people. So I'm gonna make an announcement that this connected podcast and Catholic.dad, we're gonna open up an OnlyFans.
What is that?
Yeah. So So
man.
Tony's gonna explain to you. I'm gonna start an OnlyFans, and we're gonna raise funds. What do you guys think? Tony's like just put himself on mute. He put himself on mute. So what do you think, Tony? I think we can get some funds in. Yeah.
Should he do it or should he not?
Should I do it?
I assume you're trying to make a point, so I'll just say, no, Arnell, you shouldn't do that.
No,
I don't think that would bring you.
Are you saying no because you don't think we would make money of me doing an OnlyFans, or?
I don't know whether or not we would make money from that. But I don't think that would bring us to holiness. I think that would actually put people that view those content away from holiness and bring you away from holiness.
Wait. But OnlyFans to like bring holiness, right? Right? That's what it is, right?
What would be the content you would want to post?
Like post pictures of me holding a rosary, like me holding
I would have a
Bible.
problem. I would feel uncomfortable with it because most people on that platform are not posting things like that. So it might be produce a sin of scandal, possibly.
What? But it's OnlyFans, right? It's OnlyFans, right?
Oh my god.
Catherine, why are you laughing? I mean, what is OnlyFans, Catherine?
Oh man.
Because Father Augustine talked about it. Father Augustine talked about it. And
OnlyFans is typically
I
what.
haven't actually listened to it, but so I'm like, hey,
Yeah,
if
okay,
you're talking
so
about OnlyFans, I'm gonna start an OnlyFans.
I'm laughing because I sent him that video. I just wanted to get his thoughts, and then he's like, "Ooh, what if that's your topic?" And I was like, "Oh no, I think that's too controversial, and I do not feel confident to handle that, especially the escándalo that is gonna arise. No thanks."
But anyways, I just wanted to post that because I thought it was funny, and Father Augustino shared it, and many young people, especially our young ladies, are going on there to make money. And I think the reason why I brought it up is maybe if you're a young person who's listening to this, that the sin of scandal is not simply Catholic dad going on OnlyFans and selling his body and images. Like, no one's gonna want that.
Yeah.
Maybe my wife. But anyways, maybe we can bleep that out. No, we'll leave that all in. But but the thing with OnlyFans that I can connect it with is simply similar to pornography. And I think what hurts me is when you see people who youth and young people look up to, and they're starting their OnlyFans, and people who they admire, and they have an OnlyFans, and it's like, what's going on? So
Father Agustin, in case you haven't watched it, and if someone else wants to go watch it, you can check out his IGTV at Orale CP on Instagram. That's his
Orale
CP. So he's talking about this woman whose kids got kicked out of Catholic school because she had an OnlyFans page. And so a lot of people were outraged. How dare they, like, this is her work, her line of work, and blah blah blah. But just because something, and I think this is something that comes up often in our church, just because something might be seen right in one way doesn't make it morally right. I don't know if that makes sense. And so he was talking about how hopefully there will come a day where women or even men don't have to sell their bodies anymore to make money off that. That's something that I've thought about, and I've always wondered what's the stance on OnlyFans, because people see it as a way of making money. They don't see anything wrong with it, but there's just something, like, I feel like people who do that deserve so much better, just because it seems lucrative doesn't make it okay. And so that really, I don't know, that made my heart really heavy. Like, I know we were like, not that long ago.
The means doesn't justify, the ends does not justify the means.
Exactly. Yeah. So and I felt he made some really good points. I really encourage you to go and watch it, because it gives you something to think about and something to consider, especially for young people. I just feel like it's so easy to fall into the trap that, oh, everyone else is doing it, why not? Like, it's cool. Like, no, I don't think so. You deserve better.
You ought to live a life of holiness. So bottom line, I shouldn't start an OnlyFans.
You should not.
No?
But if you want to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/thisconnected.
See how that just rolled in there?
Good one.
Or we've gone used to each other. We can bounce off each other now.
Yes.
Like, subscribe, hit that bell.
That bell icon.
Hey, by the way, I looked. We're at 91. No, we only need 9 more people. 9 loving people to like our page, so that producer Tony can do his magic, just like his rap remix. He can do some magic on our YouTube channel. By the way, I gotta share with you guys. This is an apple fritter that recipe of great grandma. She used to make this for all her grandchildren, and she's passed on to her grandchildren. My daughter the recipe for this, and it is so delicious. So it's like leftover apples, chop it up and batter, and it's like, man, it is so good.
Are you gonna give us some?
No, you're just
Make
gonna
some.
have to trust me.
That's messed up,
trust.
bro.
Yep.
Oh, I
Okay.
wanted to say, if I may, this is my Dory Jean kicking in. So earlier today, I went to the rite of election, and I just want to say it was so beautiful. It was my first time seeing it. I don't know why I was moved to tears seeing people give the first of many yeses to God. And so I hope that we can all keep them in our prayers as they continue on in their journey to receive their sacraments during Easter.
Yeah. Also, a friend of mine, Robert Gonzalez, was just received, became a lector, from Bishop Rojas. So he's on his way to becoming a bishop. Sorry, just rushed that there. He's on his way to becoming a permanent deacon. So good for him. Yeah, him and his wife Lorena, who started youth ministry with me back in the day. So I'm just super excited.
So Arnell, when are you gonna be a deacon?
Not gonna happen.
Boo.
Not gonna happen.
We should put signs on your lawn. So
one of the things is Maria, my loving wife Maria, says if I have to go back to school, you can forget it. She says I went and got my bachelor's and I'm done. So and the thing is, one of the things for me is I love my parish, and one of the things is when you work with a bishop, you have to be obedient and go to where he sends you. And one of my really struggles why I do the podcast is obedience. It's like Catholic.dad struggles with obedience. It's like, as I said, stop rocking the boat, Catholic.dad. The animals are falling out. But it's fun.
Are you Noah's Ark? Are you Noah's Ark?
Noah's Ark. He was stop rocking Noah's Ark. People are falling off.
Okay, Ardell, it's funny you mentioned that about not leaving your parish, because my confirmation sponsors, shout out to them, we're also the lead catechist of the RCA program in Spanish at our parish. Years ago, he could have been a deacon too. He had everything ready to go, but he's like, I love this community too much. I don't really want to go. I'm like, if I go, if I become a deacon, I basically go wherever the bishop calls me to.
Can you imagine me being sent to Blythe?
Yeah.
It's like,
look at your face. You're like, no.
Like Blythe. Like, okay, I'll become Protestant.
Oh no. Oh, that's bad. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm just kidding, Bishop Rojas. Love Bishop Rojas. I love him. He plays the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know what I'm gonna miss? I really liked Bishop Barnes' ability to do his homily bilingually. I think it's an art form to do a bilingual mass, and the way that Bishop Barnes did his bilingual masses just flowed. It was just so smooth and flowing, and I like that. I think that's a gift of the Holy Spirit that he has to be able to communicate to people through his homily. And I haven't listened to enough of Bishop Rojas to see if it's the same, but that's what I'm gonna miss, his homilies. I don't know about the content, but I love the flow. Yes, I can't remember the content because I've been drinking wine.
I will say this, the thing I love about Bishop Rojas homilies that they have, I feel the content is really good. Like the first time I heard him give a homily was when he first arrived last February. I happened to be at mass that day at Our Lady of the Rosary, and he was giving his first mass there. I didn't know that. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna stay watch him, watch him preside mass, and it was awesome. So I don't know. Have you heard any of his homilies, Arno?
I have, and it's kind of awkward for me. It's kind of like this bishop. He's only a few years older than me. I'm like, it's like I can just go out for drinks with this guy. Hopefully, Bishop Rojas, if you ever get to listen to this podcast, this is an invite. I know I've invited you to come on the podcast. So maybe we'll go out for a beer and we'll record it.
You guys, I hope you do.
Hey, you know what we could ask is if he will join us instead of a one mono y mono, is you
Yeah.
can join us with Wine with Yam,
Yum. Oh, yeah.
and we can bust out the you know what, unconsecrated church wine, and we'll drink it with him.
We'll get some from San Antonio.
Yes.
Right. San Antonio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we can do a podcast at San Antonio Wine with Bishop Rojas. That is a personal invite from Wine with Yam group to you,
Yes.
Bishop Rojas. Just shout out to Alberto Rojas, Bishop of the Diocese of San Bernardino, to come on the podcast with Wine with Yam and drink some unconsecrated church wine. So I think we're ranting now. I think
It's
this
all
is the
good.
wine. I think this is the wine
Dory
talk.
cells. These are the Dory cells kicking in.
Yeah, this is the wine this is the so that is our new way of talking. Oh, I forgot. Someone did say something. Someone made a recommendation. I need to find it. Someone made a recommendation for us, the next bottle of wine, from one of our patrons. She recommends that we drink. She said, "I'd like to recommend a wine, Riesling. It's good with dessert."
Riesling
So
is
guess
good.
what? I guess next podcast with Wine with Yam is Riesling and dessert. So
Can we
And Arnell's making
back
cheesecake
to
for
what I
apple
was
fritters.
talking about just about 20 minutes ago?
Will it still be Lent though by that time?
But I think it'd still be Lent.
Yeah. Just kidding. Can we save it for
Yes.
after Easter?
We'll say, well, yeah, we'll do an after Easter Riesling. So patron, we will save this to not this coming up, but we'll save it for the following one. Riesling and dessert, Easter desserts.
Yes.
And yes, I will make cheesecakes.
Yes. Yes.
And apple fritters. I'm just saying.
Apple fritters, we'll give you the mix and you have to fry it yourself.
No, the point is you make it.
So greasy.
It tastes better when someone else makes it.
That's true. Good at
Like-
Bethany.
like- Put some like powdered sugar on top. So good. So good.
Oh my god.
How many more days of Lent do we have?
Don't count, girl. You're gonna prolong it. You're gonna prolong it. Knock it off. Knock it off.
We're like looking through messages. Forget it. I'm not gonna read these. Can't read them anymore. I've had too many glasses of wine. So anyone else want to say anything before we fall over and just fall out drunk? By the way, folks, if you're listening to this and you're a young person, we are actually not drunk. We are very, very mature. We partake a little bit of the wine. It's actually, we haven't even drank one glass, but drink responsibly.
This is
That
who's
is the
looking
thing
at
that-
me from where I'm sitting.
So obviously you guys see that we are at home. There's no drinking and driving, and it's just a glass of wine. Drink responsibly. We do not encourage any underage drinking whatsoever.
Nope.
We don't even encourage overage drinking. We're just having fun with this and trying to see how many types of wine that we don't know what they are and how to drink it. So we're not professional wine drinkers. Well, maybe Catherine, but the rest of us, we're just pretending. I literally have all these open bottles that never did get finished because they weren't that good. So, all right. So, on that note, my wife is having like a huge conversation with one of her friends, and I'm like, "Can you guys hear her?" She's like she's busting up laughing, and I'm like, "We can hear you. I can hear you." So maybe we'll hear her in the recording. So, folks, if these fine young people don't have anything else to wine with, we're just gonna go. We're just gonna say that's all we have. That's all we have, folks, for this episode of Disconnected with Disconnected podcast Wine with Yam episode. I've just I'm just gonna sing. I'm just gonna sing.
Yeah.
Come and see the glory of Easter dawn. It's coming, right? We're still in. So as usual, please pray for Tony because he's constantly discerning. Also, for you guys who are looking for a really good godparent or sponsor for confirmation, or you need a godfather, I just want to say I recommend Tony Pimentel, who is a great youth ministry director at all. I mean, if you guys want someone of faith who's going to keep your child in the faith, Tony Pimentel, please contact him. You could check him on his Instagram, his bio, send him a message. You can even send us a comment, an email to catholic.dad50@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram, and we will connect you with Tony. And regardless of that, if you do, you can't go wrong. So again, because we gave you that resource, please subscribe to the podcast on any of the podcast platforms out there and listen to podcasts. Give us a review. And if you want to help us out in keeping people in the faith, especially youth and young adults, consider being a patron, or donate to our Venmo or PayPal account. Every single amount of support that you provide goes a long way. And if you like the podcast, if you like the content, support. And if you have information out there that you want us to talk about, especially on Wine with Yam, when we have that buzz, send that to us too. But
that's what grinds your gears.
Yes, and most importantly, you know what? Where was I, Tony? I don't remember where I was.
Subscribe to our YouTube.
Yes, we have 92 right now. I feel like a telethon that's going on here. So if you want Tony to come up with new and awesome content for us to be able to use on our YouTube, just subscribe, and hit that bell. So friends, remember, live a life of holiness. We'll be praying for you. Please pray for us. And most importantly, be blessed and be third, and listen to Tony rapping all the way through.
Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise of different generations of the girls and boys. So sit back and relax. This the podcast. Don't overreact if the thoughts are abstract. When it's hosted by Catholic Dad, who knows what's gonna happen?
Hey, what's up, fam?
Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise and see if this connected.
What's up, fam? To connect generations and situations about faith, life, and whatever comes along.
Expect runaway thoughts like a runaway train. Break into conversation like links of a chain. Make a Hail Mary pass, hope this connects. Have a question for a guest, put it to rest. Live a life of holiness, lead by example. Follow at Catholic.Dad and Mini Tangled. Christ leads our way, he's the good shepherd. Pray for one another, be blessed and be there. Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise and see if this connected.
Dang, this was a crazy episode.
You drank way too much.
I drank way too much. I think I sang too.
Yeah, you did. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay.
Anyone have any song requests?
Red wine.
Red wine. That's all I know.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I was gonna suggest a song, but I don't know if you know it. It's
What is
called
it?
Bienaventurados.
I
She
love
knows.
that song.
Like, she knows I don't speak Spanish. Let's sing to you in Tagalog.
Okay, a ver, cántanos.
Cántalo. Sí, sí. It's my mom and dad's favorite song. Okay, ready?
A ver.
Dahil sa'yo, nais kong mabuhay. That's all I know.
Mabuhay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's because of you. Man, I should have stopped recording. So I'm going to stop recording right there.